Good morning and welcome to my live stream. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and here are to Fight CPS with Bob Pace. It is a very difficult matter that you're involved in with. The reason why most of the people have found me is that they're trying to fight CPS. They're trying to get back their family and their children and everything. Unfortunately, there are many rogue entities out there that I call the child protection system. They have different names. In 1962, Congress passed a law that social services, who is a federal government entity, create a group of social workers to protect our children from neglect and abuse. And they formed the child protection system. It's a part of social services. It's a government entity. Many names are Child Protection Services, CPS, Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS, Department of Children's Services, DCS. The cabinet, whether it's one of those, I just make it simple. Anything that deals with the protection of our children from neglect and abuse, I call the Child Protection System CPS. So make it simple during this live stream and future live streams and where we talk to. All we have to do is say CPS. You don't have to worry if you're politically correct with the right name. It's all the same. It's all the same. The problem you got to worry yourself about is how to keep your family together and how to prevent them from trafficking your children into foster care and alienating your children. Fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. You need a professional to fight for it. And Vincent W. Davis is that professional. He has over 39 years of fighting CPS and has returned thousands of children. He's out of Arcadia, California. But he'll go anywhere that anybody would like to hire him. Yes, there is money involved, just like in a doctor doing open heart surgery. The problem is most of us don't get legal insurance. We talk about medical insurance. We talk about car insurance. In fact, it's a law that you have to have car insurance. It's actually a law you need to have medical because you have to report it on your tax returns that you have medical in place. So a car insurance and medical are required by law. Because you cannot drive a car without insurance. And if you do, you have to post a bond, and it's a big bond. It's a lot of money. Furthermore, if you have legal insurance, then you can afford a lawyer. Now, lawyers have reached a point in their life where they get a great deal of money. In fact, I think one of the best professions to be is a lawyer if you're interested in just money only. Because everybody needs a lawyer. And if you're a good lawyer, such as Vincent Davis, you can make a lot of good money. Now, he's a reasonable lawyer. He's not going to gouge you. Like, for instance, if you have a case in LA County, is where his office is located, in Arcadia. His retainer, his approximate retainer for your CPS case is approximately $5,000. That doesn't mean the whole case will cost $5,000. That just means to get started with the case. Now, he's $500 an hour attorney. That's his hourly charge. Now, a lot of attorneys are charging $600, $800, $1,000. So he's not a high-end attorney, but he's not a cheap attorney. And $500 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money, especially for those that are on fixed incomes or low income. And that's what's happened. 100% of the people that come to me or talk to me on my live stream, or low income. That's something that everybody has in common that's involved with the rogue CPS. Because unfortunately, the CPS system is corrupt. Not all of it, but many of them are. And they take advantage of people that are low income. Why? Because they can stick you with a court appointed attorney who will do nothing for you and your kids. You see, everybody in a court of law there needs the attorney. And if you cannot afford one, you're right, you're allowed to be appointed one. The problem is the attorneys that are appointed don't know how to fight CPS. They're not trained. They're not in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. Those three areas are laws that you need. That's why Vincent Davis has that. You need to have, a good attorney to navigate, to fight CPS, because you're in a dream world. I don't know if you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, but she's out there in the garden. She falls in a rabbit hole and she meets the Cheshire Cat, who directs her from room to room, and she's lost because she's in a nightmare, a quagmire of no indoors. My county in California was Orange County, and it's the Orange County Child Protection Service, CPS, that I found out was corrupt. I never had dealt with CPS, and I first met them 15 years ago. And how I met them was because a reporter, and this is a layman, reported false allegations against me and my wife about our three younger children. Now, I have helped raise 6 children. 3 of them are old and have families themselves. I have 42 years of marriage. I'm a loving father and a husband, and I'm not an attorney. But over these 15 years, I've learned a lot about how to fight CPS. And if I knew what I knew now, I would never have had my children trafficking into foster care way back when they got my children. It is really a horrid thing you guys are going through. And I'm trying to start my live streams a little bit different, but I do have to cover some of the similar things. This is an interactive live stream. I'm on twice a day. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, 5 days a week. And then on the weekends, I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning. Then at nighttime, I'm on at 7 p.m. every night of the week. That's all 7 days. That's 14 live streams. Those are all Pacific Standard Time. The West Coast of California is where this is being broadcast from Surf City, USA, 3 blocks to the ocean. And I am broadcasting from my home, my humble home. I lost my forever home after working 45 years for it. I lost it in 2017. I tried to hang on to it as long as I could. I had lost my job through no fault of my own in 2010. I was 60 at the time. And that's the only downside of things, is that when all the money you save, your retirement plan, your savings, and any investments or anything you did there, well, apparently I didn't do my money wisely, and I was only able to stay in my home for 7 years because I got bits and pieces of job. But one of the things working against me was your age. You see, when people reach a certain age, they think you can no longer work. Like in the Philippines, if you're older than 55, you have to retire. You cannot work past the age of 55 in the Philippines, which I think people should be able to work as long as they stay fit and they feel they can do what they can do. Your brain is a brilliant device. And your brain, for me, for 75 years, has accumulative a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of life skills I can help people with through life. I'm a world traveler. I've lived in many countries. I've traveled over many countries. And my traveling was because of surfing and rugby. Those are 2 things that took me away from the United States. Now, I did play high school football and college football, and it carried on to rugby. And rugby is where you started playing other countries. It used to travel in the United States, but I went and played England and Scotland and Wales. I played over in Belgium and Netherlands. I played over in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. And I've been in the same countries a lot for surfing. Now, not necessarily Belgium. There's no surfing in Belgium. In the Netherlands, there is a coast, and I don't know. I've not surfed the Netherlands. I've surfed Norway, at Bergen, Norway, down there in the frozen snow and ice in the winter. That was a terrible experience. And I've surfed, England and Scotland and Wales and Ireland and all over the East Coast and West Coast. In fact, just this past Monday, I did what was called a paddle out for a person that I had grown up with, that I'd known about. His name was Brian Wilson. He's the writer for the Beach Boys. And I went to many of his concerts. I knew Dean Torrance of Jan Berry and Dean Torrance fame. And Dean was there on Monday doing a eulogy too. He didn't paddle out, but he did the eulogy. But surfing has always been a part of my life. And I've watched people from age 12 grow up to be 53 years old. And it's amazing when you see people transform. But anyway, unfortunately, the CPS matter got out of hand. It destroyed my life. It really has. And it's been still destroying my life. Even right now, I'm trying to struggle to save up money. I work for Bangladesh wages, and I'm lucky if I get paid once a month. And it's hard because I'm trying to take care of my family. In order to take care of my family, I still have 2 young sons. Now, fortunately, they're starting to go to college and trying to finish college. My other young child was actually taken from me by a social worker that committed revenge. Now, I'm going to tell you this point blank. I'm speaking from firsthand experience. This social worker, who didn't have a high school education, was in her early 20s, never had a family, was somehow entrusted to take care of my family, and she supposedly knew more than we did about taking care of children. But how it works is really strange, this child protection system. When someone calls in, let's say a layperson, that could be a friend, acquaintance, a relative, someone at the store. If they suspect something going on, they're going to call in. They may not be trained. But the other kind of individual are the professionals that are mandated reporters. That means by law they have to because of their job. If you're a doctor or a nurse and you see child neglect or abuse, you have to report it. If you're a fireman or a policeman, you have to do the same thing. If you're a school teacher or a principal or a counselor or a nurse, you have to do the same thing. If you're a caregiver, you have to do the same thing. Anyone that works with children professionally is required by law to take classes in how to protect children from neglect and abuse and report it. But even these professional people get it right only half the time. Now, last year, there was 4,200,000 cases of reported child abuse. That's a lot of child abuse reports. And that was only done by mandated reporters. And these mandated reporters, they were found that 2 million were false allegations. Only 2,200,000 were true. So that means they get 50% are right. Well, the lay people are more closer to 80% right, wrong, 20% right. And in my case, when I lost my job, I had my in-laws, my wife's mother, father, 3 sisters, and her brother call in falsely accusing us of harming our children. They wanted to take her children. They never wanted me to marry her. You know, I've known her since 92. That's over 32 years, I think, anyway. Um, and you're probably wondering why I say 42 years of marriage. That was my second wife. My first wife was in 83. And um, I met my second wife in 92. And she divorced me in 92. And I don't want to talk here about my life, and I'm starting to do it, and I got to get away from it. I am more interested in helping you. I want to help you resolve your issues, help you find an attorney, help you by showing these 5 rules that I've come up with, how important it is, Now, for you that have called in numerous times, I really appreciate you people. You've helped me with other people on the show. You're like family. But the ones that are new, I want to go over a couple things of how you can interact with this live stream. One is, if you want to text a message to me to answer, please make a question or a comment that pertains to CPS. Please state your first name, your city or county, your state, and if you're from outside the United States, your country. Yes, I have 22 countries that have text messages or called in. With the United States, it's 23. And I've spoken to every state in the United States, all 50, from people or more from each state. I've talked to reservations. I've talked to the first immigrants, the Native American Indians. And also, if you're the first time text a message, please tell me about your CPS case from the beginning to where you're at. I know it's lengthy, but the more you talk about your case, the more you'll be better prepared to fight it and also grieve for it, because I'm still grieving. I had 3 beautiful children, my young children, that at the time of CPS involvement, my young son was 4 years old at the time. 4 years old. A little guy. He and my daughter was 8 years old. 8 years old. She's actually 7 going on 8. And my other son was 14. They're still young. They're very precocious. Now, we were a family of 8, is technically my family because I have 3 older children. But at the time CPS evolved, we were a family of only 6, me and my wife and our 4 children. Oh, 3 children. I was saying, because my next oldest daughter was still living at home. That's why I was thinking of 6. Then it became a family of 5. But she moved out in 2014, a year before this happened. She was 25 at the time. But in 2010, she was around. And she was in her 20s. And she would see me talk to the social workers who I'd invite into the home. And they would see my home. And my home was fine. There's nothing wrong with my home. And I would show them the utility bills where I paid the utilities. I'd show them the freezer full of food. I showed the food preparation area. I showed each child had their own bedroom and own bath. It was a huge home. It was a forever home. It's a dream home 1 mile from the beach. And all of you are probably going through something similar. We are born in this world helpless. We don't know everything. And one area is, who is the child protection system? Well, we know it's a government entity. Well, that's what I found out after fighting them for 15 years. At the time it first happened to me, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know that someone could call in and right away you're guilty. See, that's another step that you're going to be hurting. You're going to be considered guilty. You're going to be considered guilty. It's a hard process because they get a phone call from either a mandated reporter or a layperson. Right away, they're told they must believe the case is real. It's the only area of law where you're guilty before you're proven innocent. Every other time that you're accused of violating the law, you're innocent, you're proven guilty. Well, sometimes you are. It's sad. It's sad um, because a lot of people prejudge. And in CPS, they definitely do prejudge. They first investigate the person that, you know, they don't investigate the person that called. They don't have to do it in writing. I think that anytime you're going to call in somebody, you have to sign a form or email a document and sign your name electronically. And your phone number needs to be submitted because a lot of these are bogus reports. A lot of these are bogus, and you should be innocent till you're proven guilty. You should be afforded reunification. Your children should not be trafficked into foster care unnecessary because a lot of times they're not in danger. I don't know what it is, but CPS thinks they get more money because as soon as the child's in their hands, they call the county and they get their money, millions of dollars. It's $1 trillion business. Billions of dollars are sent to the state, and the state in turn sends um, trillions of dollars, sends millions of dollars to the uh, CPS system, the entity. Anyway, uh, it's a hard thing when you don't know this, and a lot of you don't. And maybe a lot of you heard me over and over and are learning it. But the more times you hear it, the more it sinks your head. Now, another way to interact on this live stream is be a guest. That means you'd contact my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. All you have to do is give her one of my 14 times and days. You just say, I want to be Bob's Sunday morning show, or Bob's Saturday night show, or Bob's Friday morning show, or Bob's Wednesday night show. You just pick a night, and it's either day or morning, nighttime or morning. It's either Monday through Sunday. It's easy. When she gets your email, she will send you a link. It's a link to what's called SteamYard. SteamYard is what I used as a software application on my computer. It also uses YouTube. SteamYard and YouTube have a relationship there. Uh, so to be that guest, you just go ahead and she'll send you the link. You copy and post and paste it, and you'll be on StreamYard. And I can take 9 of you at one time. I can take 9 of you at one time. Now she'll tell you about the rules, like um, no talking. Excuse me, no profanity on the show, no eating or smoking on the show. And we do not use the names of children, judges, or social workers. She will tell you other things and help you with your camera and your audio, your camera and your audio. And that's all there is to it. So I look forward to having you. Now, another way to interact, and I got some people in the room. I got Kayla. Kayla is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She's tried for the last couple of days that she's going to call in a few minutes. For some reason, when I call, it hangs up and doesn't go through. Well, I'm checking right now, and I just text some messages, so I know that there's nothing that is hurting that. My phone is live. My volume is up. I'm not on any other call. You're right, Kayla. It was my beach home. It's the home that is called your forever home. It's a home that was less than a mile to the ocean, so protected from tsunamis. It was a home that, I just can't describe. I mean, I live in one of the world's most expensive places in the world. Unfortunately, when you lose a job, I had made enough money, I was saving money, but I had no idea that it would cost so much money to hire an attorney to get my kids back. And at first, I thought I could fight on my own. At first, I thought I could fight on my own. Anyway, that's my case. I want to hear about your cases. I want to help you with your case. I can relate what I did, the mistakes I did to your case, but I'd like you to be helpful because the purpose of this live stream is to help others not make the same mistake that I made with CPS, not have my children stolen. If I knew what I had now, they would never have been stolen. In fact, I would have had a really good lawsuit and would have won millions of dollars. But unfortunately, I made some bad choices. Some bad choices. And that's what life is all about. We never know until we're there. So I feel for you. I hurt for you. I know when I listen to Cecil in New York. She is called Happy Mommy or Yummy Mommy, I think she's called as her name on the YouTube video. Anyway, she's the mother that went to Canada with her younger children that didn't require to be in school. They're under the age of school age. They couldn't even be in preschool. But anyway, she went there and instead of staying in a normal hotel, she decided to stay in a shelter in Quebec. Apparently, the CPS raided the shelter and she was caught up. And they said her children had to be in school and she was a bad mother. And somehow they got a hold of her relatives in Florida and somehow sent her children to Florida. Even though this mother went to the U.S. Embassy, she had passports that show she was a U.S. citizen. I just can't believe that CPS in Canada railroaded an American mother, maybe because she was black. They seem to always pick on black people or Indian people. The number one person that's picked upon in child protection isn't black, it's Native American Indians. 99% of the time, they never see their family when they're taken. And it took Congress 100 years to put an end to that. You see, in 1875, the whole United States was against the Native American Indians. Why? Well, they thought they were barbaric. They lived a nomad life. They lived a wild life. But I don't know if any more wildlife than the people living at that time were wild also. They had dirty habits. I don't know if you know what a patoon is, but it's a little jar that sat at a bar and people would cough up and spit into that jar. That's a really gross habit. Smoking became another gross habit. You know, we talk about how we're more civilized than they were, but they never wasted anything of the land. They lived off the land. They're great people and gracious people. But apparently, we're taking advantage of with modern weapons and defeating them and raping them and killing them and destroying them. And their kids were caught up in it. They're put in Indian schools. You know, the Indians were put on reservations. The children never saw their families again. And this went on for 103 years because it wasn't until 1978 they passed the Indian Child Welfare Act, which mandates that CPS must find out if the children are Indian or not. There are 548 recognized tribes by the federal government. And in order to be recognized, you have to be registered with that tribe. The tribe usually requires a 25% bloodline. But all this means is that instead of CPS being putting the children into foster care, they have to turn them over to the Indian reservations, who puts them with the Indian family, and then they're reunified with their family. It's so sad how government officials, and right now we have DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, that's investigating our corrupt government. And, you know, we have an ironclad president who rules with an iron hand. He does not tolerate anything from anybody. That includes people that he's met. He's the only one that has met the president of Korea and had a chat with him. He has stood up to the president of Russia. And I think it's really awful that the world we have is that children are being suffered so bad around the world. Now, these countries that have called in so far have been Indonesia, Bangladesh, up in the Middle East. It's been Saudi Arabia and Libya, and then over in Africa, it's been Liberia, Sudan, and then Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and then Mozambique, and then down to South Africa, and up to Europe, to the United Kingdom, Denmark, and Sweden, across the pond to Canada, every state in the United States, including Washington, D.C., which is not a state, and south of the border of Mexico, and then South America, Grenada, north of Brazil on the East Coast, and then across the Pacific, the South Pacific to New Zealand, and the land down under Australia. Those are the countries that have called in. Horrible stories have told me. I had a mother call in from England, country code 44, crying in tears in her garage. of what the CPS entity is doing there. Same thing in Africa. A girl named Leica, a young mother, dealing with very primitive and terrible ways. Okay. Hello, this is Bob Pace, and you've reached the live stream for Vincent W. Davis. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to? Hi there, Kayla. I was expecting your call. I'm glad we finally connected at the time you can talk. Now, if you have my show in the background running, can you turn my show down so it doesn't interfere with our talk here? Okay. Uh, I first want to tell you that you're from, um, oh boy, I thought I remember, but I don't know. Are you from Milwaukee? Milwaukee. Aren't you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin? Right. Okay. And I can call you Kay. That sounds such an easy way to say it. And yeah. So, Kayla, um, you have a mixed child, which is fine. I know problems with. I want everybody to know in this room. I'm colorblind, so it doesn't make a difference what color you are. Um, you haven't been able to hold her for 4 days. So, I guess what I'm trying to find out is how all this started. First of all, how many children did you have before this started? You had Okay, before you go any further, you had one child. Now, are you a married couple or are you just girlfriend, boyfriends, or lovers, or what's your relationship? Okay, we'll get to the different dads and different children. I'm going to start with the first child. The father of the first child, is he with you or it was just something that he went ahead and left you? Okay, you planned a baby, you were together, but you weren't married. So, what happened to that relationship? Now, their second pregnancy, the second child, was that the father or that some other man? Okay. So, you are having a really good relationship. You wanted a child together, but somehow you fell out of the relationship to him drinking. How much time when he started drinking did you start to see another man? So what and I mean, 1 minute you guys are happy with the child you made, and by the way, did CPS investigate the child was born, or was that happened later? Okay, so you guys were raising a child together, and your relationship fell apart. Was there domestic violence happening? Did you guys argue? You didn't argue. Well, then what drove you guys apart? Well, not all the way apart. Besides, it was a drinking, but what started it? Was it jealousy? Okay. I need to go back before you got pregnant because here's the thing I'm trying to understand. You're 4 months pregnant by another man, so your relationship had already turned sour. I want to know at the time your relationship. So why would you have a man with another father? Why would you have another baby? I mean, oh, okay, okay, okay. I'm not talking about that being okay. I'm trying to understand. You and this man have a child together. Now, there's a period of time that child. When did you finally? When did you first started falling apart in your relationship? That's what I'm trying to find out. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I know that. Okay, here's what it is. You have a relationship, you guys are good, and then he decided to abandon you. Do you know why he was trying to abandon you? Oh, okay. So was he when you first met him, was he a drinker? So what made him turn to drinking? What made him turn to drinking? Was he a veteran? Okay, so you're in love with a veteran who went to and I'm sorry to say this because veterans do experience this. When you go off to fight a war somewhere, no matter where you fight and what you do, it's a very trauma experience. War is not like what it is in the movies. You're not like a Rambo or a John Wayne. When you go to war, it's real. And people, you see things that are horrible. And I don't need to go into vivid details, but it changes a man. So when he was over there, you were separated by time, right? Oh, okay. I'm now getting really confused. How did you guys have the baby if you planned a baby if you didn't know him? Okay, all right. Now, okay, all right. So he's discharged. You two meet, and when he was discharged, he didn't have a drinking problem. Okay. So you guys, there was a connection there, and you guys wanted to have a baby, and marriage was not uh, important to you guys at the time. But somehow, something. Go ahead. Yeah. Well, anyway, he has a drinking problem, which is probably related to him being a veteran, and he should have gone to Veterans Hospital to have it looked into. But anyway, you and him started drifting apart. So you met another man. Was this man a military man, or what kind of man was he? A friend or a neighbor? Okay. All right. Right. Meanwhile, you have this child with him. You guys are raising the child. Did you guys ever talk about how to provide for this child if he was going to be separate from you? And what was his idea of how was he going to help you with this child? He was just, instead of monetarily paying for the bills, his idea of supporting was to, hi, I'm your daddy. I mean, I'm just trying to point like that. Meanwhile, you're suffering because your relationship with him is gone, and you have your physical needs, and someone swept you off your feet, and suddenly now you have a new man in your life, and you suddenly, did you guys plan this second baby? Okay, well that's okay because I'm glad you didn't do abortion. Too many people out there use abortion for birth control, and it should not be used for birth control. It's unfortunate that people sometimes don't know the seriousness of making love can result in babies. Um, it's easier for a man because they don't have to go through the pregnancy. Well, the thing of your body going through all its dramatic changes, and then carrying a baby for 9 months is a really remarkable thing that mother does. Anyway, so you have this second baby, you're pregnant, and then how does CPS decide to get involved? Why did you get involved? Wait. You're talking about 11. Okay. All right. Your first child's 11 months old. Now, about the first child, how old is that first child? Okay. Okay. Now, you got involved in CPS 11 months. Now, 5 years rolls along. Whatever happened to that first case with CPS? Why did the CPS get involved at the child that was only 11 months old? Why did they get involved? Who did you report the bruises to? Who did you report the bruises to? Right. And you know that the hospital people are mandated reporters, that they have to report a possibility. I know that. I'm just trying to tell people that are listening out there. Anytime you report an injury like that to the medical people, they're going to call child protective. They're required by law. Now, these bruises, CPS heard from the doctor that the doctor felt that these bruises were abuse. Now, you see, you can have bruises, and a doctor should be determined whether they're abuse or from a result of an accident. So, why does doctor determine that they're abuse? Wait, stop. You said who took them out of the room? They took your child. Why did they take your child out of the room for? I'm, well, I'm telling you, they broke the law. They broke the law, and you could have a lawsuit. Okay. Okay.
Like you they just fostered. At the same time, court deemed it abuse, yet we would be testing for any blood disorders and abuse was not deficient. How can you say that when you're not testing for that? The other thing is, she just saw her pediatrician 2 weeks before this happened.
I'm still back with a child's 11 months. I'm back along. I'm not talking about your second baby. I'm talking about the first baby. Well, this is complicated because you're jumping around on your story. I'm trying to do this chronological by date. If you stick with it, then I can understand it because the second child has a different father. So we have two children. And today, how old are these two children? All right. And your second child, how old? Oh, okay. So how can you have one case and have another case still open? I'm kind of puzzled by that.
Being individually drinking. So in this case, she had to take 2 years from
Okay, I don't know
or
what an
OWI.
OWI is. What's an OWI? Who took care of your first child? Who took care of your first child? Who took care of your first child? I'm not talking about when you were incarcerated. Who took care of your first child?
So it was weird and I got discouraged.
Well, I can imagine you get discouraged, but anyway, while you're incarcerated, the child's without a mother and she's been raised. Why wasn't she given to one of your kinship, one of your family members? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But if you want to tell a story, the best way to tell a story is always start from the very beginning and go slow. Jumping from where you're at today and 5 years ago is very confusing for somebody that's trying to help you, especially when you have two different fathers and two different children and two different CPS cases. Right. I need to deal with the first to understand. I know why they're involved in the second child because you have a history with them. That's why your second child is. A lot of people don't realize this, but unless your case is over, you don't have any more children. It's not right, but you don't have any more children because they will take the child away from you just because you have a previous case. You didn't read the fine print where it says you will not have any children until your case is closed. So I know when the mood strikes, you know, magic goes off on the 4th of July and then suddenly you now have a baby. But CPS doesn't care about that. Well, it's okay because right now, where are the two children? Are they in foster care or with a kidship or with you? And why did they not return the one to you if you have the second one? I don't need to know the names. All I know is need number one or number two child. Number two child. Who has number two child? Your aunt. So you don't have any involvement with your two children. Yeah. Well, she was just born in June. There's no chance that you're going to have any kind of relationship with that child. The child in time will forget that you're her mother. And you did do something. Well, they can try to enforce her, but they won't know unless you do some bonding moments with the child. That means you breastfeed the child, you hold the child at feeding times, you take the child, you bathe the child, you change the child's diaper, and you take care of the child playing wise. If she doesn't have that role with you, she won't know who you are. Well, wait, who is talking? Who's they? Is this the first CPS case or the second CPS case? Okay. Why is not the CPS case dealing where they wrap two together? Why are they keeping it separate? Well, I know why. They're getting more money, but that's why. Uh huh.
Even though it was physical, it was still, she remembered who I was. She still does. I made sure she did.
Well, okay. What questions would you want me to help you with, or how do you want me to help you with your case?
So, get these children. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, you said her dad has a drinking problem, so he's an unfit dad. You know that her dad has a drinking problem. He's an unfit dad. How's he proven himself? You said that he drinks all the time. That's why you left him and you got interest in another man. Okay, but how long has it been he's not been drinking? Does he have a track record where he can show that to the court? Because he has a right to claim that child, to bring it up, to take that child from you. He has that right, just like you have the right too. Okay. But just like you had a relapse, you got depressed. He can do the same thing. Okay.
Distributing. Okay, distribution.
Who has a drug charge?
Distributing.
Why is he? I mean, whether you're a user or whether you are a distributor, it's there's still illegal acts.
This is a CPS worker.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on. Hold on. Bob Pace. Pretty good. Yes, and I have no means right now of transportation. For the past week, I've had a broken drive shaft, so I'm unable to go to Doctor's On office in Newport Beach. I'm in Huntington Beach, and I have no way of getting down there. I still plan to come there. The car is now being towed today to another facility for repair. Tell them, hold on to it. I am coming. Okay. Tell them to hold on to it. I am coming. Thank you. Bye. Kay, I'm calling you back. Somehow you left the hold pattern. Kay, can you hear me? Hello, Kay.
Hello?
Yeah, Kay, I had you on hold, but then I lost you.
Oh,
I had told you I had a call come in. I needed to take the call, put you on hold, tell them they have to call back later. That's all I was doing. So, yeah, I just wanted to, because my problem is my time goes to 11 o'clock. And we've talked a long time. We've talked for a good hour here. My running time is 1 hour and 9 minutes. So I've really gone too far over my time. But I want you to know I'd like to continue this. If you can call me back tonight at 7 p.m. or tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Can you do that? Okay. Right. That would be 7 o'clock in the evening. Yes, that'd be fine. Is that tonight? Okay. I'm sorry, what? Yes, I'm on last night. Yes, I was. Right, and you got my number, so you can call in at 7:15 tonight, okay? Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, to all my listeners here, we had Kay from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with a horrible case. She has two children, two different fathers, and drugs are involved, whether they're taking drugs or selling drugs. It looks like both fathers have issues. The mother has issues. She was incarcerated and she's now out. But I don't know where the two children, she just had a baby in June that's only a couple weeks old. And she has her firstborn that's 5 months old. So, whoa, how'd she have a child that quick? I guess you can. That's quite a turnaround. Anyway, I want to try to help her. We never got to the attorney part. But anyway, I want to thank Kay for calling in and talking on the show there. I know that we didn't know emojis, but that's okay. And I know people came and go, but no one said anything other than Kay. So I'll be on again tonight at 7 p.m. Look for me at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah. Hello, Bob Pace here.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges. Another kid's innocence corrupted, and if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last